What is up, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central. I'm your host here for Reed, breaking down all of the latest news and updates, as well as projects going within the Cardano ecosystem. That said, as a part of today's video, I'm going to be joined by a representative of the CherryLend protocol, which is going to be launching on the mainnet very, very soon. If it's your first time hearing about CherryLend, they're going to be a lending and borrowing or a DeFi protocol leveraging the Cardano ecosystem. That said, let me go ahead and bring up today's guest, who is going to be Migs. Migs, welcome aboard. Good morning. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm excited to dive into everything that CherryLend is going to be bringing onto Cardano. And as we maybe just kind of kick things off, maybe we start off with a brief introduction and some of your background, and then let's go ahead and talk about the mainnet and everything else that's coming down the pipes with CherryLend.
Sure. So I'm a developer at CherryLend. I've been developing in Cardano for almost a year and a half, perhaps. So I got some experience under the hood. Mostly, I've been in the backstage and small profile projects. Till this time allowed me to gather some precious knowledge of how things work. I originally come from the fintech world. I was like working almost 10 years in a home banking solution, along with some credit portals for a bank. So that's my background that I bring then to Cardano. I also run a pool for quite some time, although not that successfully, I would say. I quickly understood that marketing is the hardest part of the pool business.
Yeah, I think one thing that has stood out to me has just been the leveraging of my personal channel here to support something like my stake pool. Now, to also hear about your background, I think is really awesome to hear. Again, I'm kind of wondering how that ties into CherryLend. So hopefully we can kind of get a breakdown of that here in just a minute. So now that we know you a little bit better, let's jump into CherryLend. Do you mind explaining for the viewers here that are potentially hearing about CherryLend for the very first time, what the protocol is and what it's aiming to do?
Well, so as you very well put it in the beginning, CherryLend is a peer-to-peer lending platform where users can lend or borrow tokens. They can therefore leverage their tokens and get some extra revenue. If they're sitting in their wallets doing nothing, that's a good chance to bring some extra revenue. We strive to have the best user experience possible in the sense that we want the experience to be simple and straightforward. Also, we try to get as much feedback from the community, and this has been taken into account since the very beginning. We have some valuable community members providing feedback since the very beginning. This has been very helpful in the sense that we quite often changed things in the interface, in the way things work, thanks to that feedback, that precious feedback. So shout out to all the supporters and people testing it. We had a public testnet going on for quite a few months now, probably 4 or 5 months, where we every week released a new version. So we were gathering all this feedback every time we released a new version.
Cool deal. Now, with respect to the testnet, what were some of the things that you guys heard, and what are some of the potential changes or updates that were made as a result of the community's feedback? Is there anything that sticks out to you specifically?
Oh, definitely. The reorganization of the concepts, the places, and the way we present information to the user. Overall, we try to make it as simple as possible, and to every time we felt users ended up confused for some reason, we tried to get around that and fix the experience somehow.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Nice to hear. Now, let's jump into, I think, the biggest piece here, which is the fact that you guys will be launching on the mainnet. So, for anybody who isn't aware of when the mainnet launch date is, do you mind touching on that and all the features we can expect to come with the mainnet, right? So, again, given the fact that you guys are a lending and borrowing protocol, and you guys also have staking, what is going to be available and when will it actually be available?
Sure. So mainnet is scheduled for December 1st. It's actually already in mainnet. It's been like for the last couple of weeks. We were again counting on these same valuable community members who've been tirelessly testing everything, and it's looking good. So we should not need to reschedule the mainnet launch. So we're on for the first. And for this first version, for V1, we mainly focused on putting something out there that works, is appealing, and that is easy to follow, and that builds a solid foundation for us to build on top of. Okay, so we got a lot of exciting things on our roadmap, which we'll be building on top of this V1. But for now, we can count on basic functionality, so borrowing and lending and all that is around and revolves around that, of course. We have right now a very interesting incentive structure that will hopefully fuel some TVL. Holders of our token will be able to earn a share of the fees charged by the platform. So that's a potential important revenue streams for holders. And besides that, we will also soon have our governance platform, which again will use our token to decide on specific proposals that will be put forward, like new tokens that should be supported, decisions on features. We also have a very interesting roadmap in terms of integrations, and one of them, probably the one that we will be releasing sooner, will be the addition or the support for bonds, the platform. This is thanks to the integration with the NOGO, the bond market, which will provide us with real-time prices for these bonds. We've been working on an agreement, so the NOGO will provide us with an API to implement such an integration. And this will provide yet another use case, a very interesting use case.
Yeah, that does sound exciting. Now, for anybody who maybe just isn't aware of how bonds function, do you mind, in a nutshell, obviously we could probably go on for hours about how they function, but do you mind maybe just giving us an overview of, what opportunities this presents to the protocol?
Sure. So we're not reinventing the bonds. We're just reusing what is already out there, which is basically Optim bonds. So Optim issues these bonds, and they're a great tool that cover multiple use cases. And what we will be doing is basically users who hold these bonds can leverage it in the platform, either to borrow or lend. And at the same time, we get consistency in prices thanks to the integration with the NOGO. So in case some event happens, we have the tools and the way to proceed accordingly.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, are there any additional features that you maybe want to share with us about that are either upcoming or that will be available, excuse me, as a part of V1? And, maybe just touching on what in your eyes makes CherryLend different in terms of value propositions that you guys are bringing to the table.
Sure. So one of the things that won't make it for December 1st is mobile support, but will be coming soon. So I'm excited for that. And of course, trying to explain why I think CherryLend is different from what is already out there. I think we will be always very community oriented, okay, in terms of feedback, in terms of evolution. I think we also have this very strong relationship with open sourcing the stuff we build. Okay, we have built for CherryLend, we have built an off-chain SDK. This off-chain SDK will be open sourced soon. We're just working on how it will be open sourced in under what licensing, etc. But we will be open sourcing that. We already rely on open source smart contracts, so that will provide some value to the community, open sourcing all the effort we've been working on. We also take to heart integrations and creating synergies with other projects, namely this integration with the Nogo, namely relying on very well-known, respected, and knowledgeable pool operators. And I would actually like to give some shout out to Apex and PSB and BBHMM and OTG and Seal, Inspire, and Elemental. These guys will be running liquidation oracles for us. So we are relying on their expertise and experience running nodes, securely running nodes and efficiently to actually sign liquidation transactions. So we like this is a good synergy because at the same time we're incorporating them in CherryLend, so they get to participate in a protocol, and we get from them all the expertise and reliability that we can expect from these guys.
Yeah, I heard some pretty big SPO names in there. So definitely shout out and kudos to them. In terms of the mobile support, I think that will be huge. I mentioned this in other interviews for other protocols and other projects that I think that the mobile space is super untapped, right? So with DEXs,
True.
with lending and borrowing, etc. I think the one platform that I've seen really kind of do well and earn a lot of market share within the mobile space is going to be the Vesper wallet. So I'm sure you probably heard of Vesper before. I know they recently just integrated with TeddySwap, and then they also integrated with the Indigo protocol, very recently. There's obviously a bunch of other protocols that support them as well. But I really like the fact that they've become the go-to wallet for mobile users. Again, a lot of people are on the go, and we're going more and more towards mobile every single day. And so I think the focus on mobile will definitely pay dividends if you guys are able to execute on that sooner rather than later. You also touched on the open source SDK, which of course, there's been talks about SDKs coming out from the not Cardano Foundation, but from IOG, right? They were developing a sidechain toolkit to onboard additional EVM networks, etc. I think these SDKs are critical to what we're doing here in order to continue to make it easier for anybody else who wants to join the space to be able to do so, right? Providing them that toolkit, allowing them to essentially iterate on everything you guys have put together in the toolkit, I think is a great stepping stone for anybody else who potentially wants to leverage some of your guys' technology and information. So I think those are two really key points that I wanted to just kind of reiterate. And again, thank you for that particular response. Now let's maybe just jump into some of the specifics of the protocol. I believe that the CherryLend token was already sold. So it's available right now as you guys are going to be launching on the mainnet. I would assume that you can utilize the Cherry token in order to open up a loan position. Do you mind maybe touching on some of the other supported assets that you guys are going to provide in terms of lending and borrowing once the mainnet launches?
Yes, definitely. So of course you can use the Cherry token as either a loan or a collateral in the platform. As some other tokens that we support that will be supporting on the 1st of December. The only difference is that if a loan as either is either based on Cherry token or Cherry token is one of the collateral, they will earn a 10% bonus in the incentives, again because in our incentive structure, every borrower and lender that interacts in the platform will earn incentives from the platform. These incentives are Cherry token, of course, and they can then stake these tokens and get a share of the revenue from the platform. So for this first release, we will be supporting a few tokens that I guess we had to choose some. Okay, so this was our first choice, but we will be adding several more in the coming days/months. Okay, and this will again be done according to community feedback. Okay, so we will involve the community in knowing what tokens we should support. So we're starting off with Cherry token, of course, with Min from MinSwap, with CBTC, with CNATA, with Indy, with IUSD, and with SNEP. So a bit all over the place, a bit of representation from each space.
Yeah, I heard some memes, some DeFi, some
Exactly.
dexes.
Exactly.
I think one that I would definitely love to see would be some sort of Oracle platform, right? So we've got C3, and then we've also got OrcFax. I think both of them are actually bringing a really unique proposition in terms of, obviously bringing off-chain data on-chain, which I think will consistently, at least for a long time, be a need until somehow all that information is actually directly on-chain. So again, really wide variety, which I can definitely appreciate. And hopefully the viewers hopefully get a better understanding of what you guys are going to be providing in terms of assets to supply and potentially borrow. Now, one thing that you did mention there was the fact that the community will have the ability to actually choose or guide some of the tokens. So, for example, with a platform like LendFi, I believe they have not staking, but governance, where they're able to vote for certain assets to be either added as collateral or as a borrowable asset. Do you guys kind of plan on doing something similar with that respect? And, what are
Yes.
you guys allowing for people to vote on?
Yes, exactly. So governance will be a critical part of our protocol. It won't make it to this December 1st date, but we're working on it already. So hopefully soon we'll be out. But what will happen in the meantime is that we will gather community feedback from the channels we've been gathering feedback since the beginning. So the Discord and Telegram channel, of course, interactions on Twitter. So we will, in the first phase, we will basically leverage community feedback through these channels. But ultimately, the goal is to have a governance section, as we actually do already in the platform, although it's not ready yet. And this section will basically contain proposals where people can vote on, and one of them is precisely token support.
Yeah, interesting to hear. And again, I think that's going to be a key piece to kind of just further the protocol as things mature. I know governance has been an aspect where the community feels like they're hurt, right? Any protocol that doesn't have governance, I mean, you're still going to have people that are going to be opinion about it, about how the protocol should be directed. And the fact that you guys are planning to have governance, I think kind of reduces any of that heartache from protocols that just solely try to lead the way and just have their community follow, as opposed to having the community chiming in real time as the protocol is growing and developing. So that said, Migs, I think that will take me through my initial set of questions. I do maybe want to turn it over to you for any closing thoughts that you might want to share, or maybe just any other topics that we didn't get to discuss that you think would be valuable for the viewers to hear about.
Yeah, sure. I'd just like to say that I'm really excited with our roadmap. We are also looking forward towards V2. V2 will basically bring pooled lending. Okay, although we will perhaps implement it in a slightly different way from what already exists in some other protocols. So overall, a lot of nice things come along soon after mainnet release, and then a solid V2. That's what we're aiming for, while in the meantime, always listening to the community and their feedback and how we can improve the user experience overall.
Well said. And as you mentioned the roadmap there earlier, as a part of Q2 of 2023, obviously we're a little bit past that now. We've got peer lending, Q3 yield farming, Q4 pooled lending, and then Q1 of 2024 governance. I think the two biggest things that stick out to me there are going to be those last two portions. Again, the pooled lending, which is going to hopefully be the norm within the space moving forward. Nothing wrong with peer-to-peer, but obviously if we can make it permissionless and executable any time of the day, it obviously brings more value and utility for the end users. And then as we just discussed there, governance as well. So I think that'll do it here for today's video. Migs, I maybe just want to give you a way to let the community know how they can become a part of the Cherry community if they're interested in finding out more about the protocol.
I think basically a good way to get all the news is following us on Twitter, going to our website, or the usual places like the Discord channel and Telegram channel.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And as always, I will go ahead and leave the links to that down below as a part of today's video description. Migs, again, thank you so much for your time here. I'm excited for the mainnet launch date taking place again on December 1st. If you guys want to find out more about CherryLend, please go ahead, make sure to stick up with them, or make sure to follow them, on Twitter. Go ahead, join their Discord, Telegram, etc. That said, if you guys found today's video to be helpful, I would appreciate you if you could tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central and you guys want more content like this surrounding the top builders on the network, consider subscribing to the channel for more. Last but not least, if you have any questions for myself or Migs surrounding the CherryLend protocol, then feel free to make sure to go ahead and leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.